The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod. You can see the toys are encroaching, right? It is Festival of Toys time, and I absolutely love it because we get to be here on the show and demonstrate some really cool toys, and I'm already playing with one. So we've got lots to do today. It's very exciting what we have going on. So first of all, let me just say to you that we're coming to you live from the Warner Center in Woodland Hills, California. This is the home for Autism Live. It is also the home for the Center for Autism and Related Disorders. And we're excited to be with you live for the next hour talking about autism from a 360-degree perspective. We know that everyone who comes to the show has a different perspective, and maybe you come from a different place on the spectrum, or you come from a different place of loving someone who's in a different place on the spectrum, right? We welcome all of you. We do this show in hopes of reaching the larger autism community. That, of course, means individuals who are on the autism spectrum, but it also means all the people who love them, right? And we're not just talking about one part of the spectrum. We're talking about the big, beautiful spectrum, everybody. No matter what your issue is, no matter what your desire is, we want to help you to get to the things that you so richly deserve. So Traven's already started to show you some of the different ways that you can connect with us here while we're doing the live show and when we're not doing the live show. Either way, you can also reach us at our homepage, which is autism-live.com. When you go there, there's many things to do. You can check out the toy guide. We took the time to review a bunch of toys and put them all in a room together. We invited individuals from the autism community, children, teens, adults on the spectrum, their parents, therapists, all kinds of people to play with the toys. We asked them to vote for the toys that they liked, but we also watched what they went back to and played with over and over again. We were sneaky about it too. And so we tabulated all those things and we chose winners. That's what's in the toy guide. And not only that, if you click on the name of the toy in the toy guide, it will take you directly to a page where you can purchase it. We are not partners with any of the people that we picked for the toy guide. We don't get a kickback from it at all. And by the way, all the toys that they donated for us to review, we are giving away during our Sensitive Santa event and a couple of other events throughout the month of December that feature individuals who are on the autism spectrum. So there's that, right? So the toys get repurposed. In any case, check that out on our toy guide. But we are also talking about other things today. But I will say this, that it's super important to talk about play. And I think that part of the reason why I love this time of year and we talk about the toys is that play is one of the underrated parts of a child's upbringing in terms of importance, right? Underrated in terms of importance. And for a child on the autism spectrum, I think that's particularly true because if you're behind in skills that help you to communicate and help you to be safe and help you to be able to eat and those kinds of skills, which some of our kids are, let's be honest here, then a lot of times, a lot of people won't spend a lot of time focusing on play. And to me, this is criminal because play is where you work everything out. Play is where you can take on other people. It's the freedom to fail, the safe place to fail, because if you blow it with a toy, you get to try it again, and the toy's not going to yell at you. At least not the toys we pick, right? And if there's a level of frustration with the toy, it's reduced, right? It's not as much. I'm not saying, look, I've seen my son get really frustrated with a video game, but even that is a great place for him to learn how to deal with that frustration, how to problem solve, right? So that when he's in a real life situation where something's really happening, he's already had practice dealing with frustration. It's a fabulous thing. So I really love play. I know that some of you are frustrated and you write in and say, my child isn't interested in play. And that's a very typical thing with our kiddos that are on the autism spectrum. Some toys feel like work to them. So we try to give you toys and show you how to interact with the child with the toy so that it is not work, right? But it's not one size fits all. Okay, so we're going to be talking about play today, tomorrow, until we take a break on December 20th. And we are going to be here till December 20th. Okay, but we showed you some of the ways that you can get in contact with us here. I want to point out that we have a lot of experts that come on the show, and I just want to let you know that I'm not an expert. I like to say that I have an informed opinion. I think I'm going to own the fact that I am becoming an expert in what toys are good for kids on the spectrum. I think I'm going to call myself an expert in that. I curate a toy guide for that and have been doing that for many years. So I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I'm teetering on being an expert for that. And I'm certainly passionate about it, right? But anything else I'm not an expert in, which is why we have experts to come on the show. And we hope that you'll ask them questions. And you can do that on the live features. So, which, by the way, there is a chat on our autism-live.com at the very bottom of the page. If you click on the chat, free, anonymous, we don't even know who you are. You can ask whatever you want. You can ask whatever you want on Facebook and YouTube too. It's just that people know it's you that's asking. All right. We like to start every Thursday morning with something we fondly refer to as the jargon of the day. This is when we take on one word, one phrase, one acronym. We try to figure out what in the hey nani are the experts talking about? What does this have to do with me? How can this save me time or money? Why do I need to learn this new term? And unbelievably, I cannot believe that we have not done this term before. We've had doctors on the show before to define this, but we haven't actually done it as part of our jargon. But it's high time that we did. You can see on the screen, it says MTHFR. And by the way, I have started saying, what the MTHFR? Right? Because it kind of sounds like something weird. So when we do the jargon, we give you the actual definition, which is often so convoluted that there's nothing to do but make fun of it. Not always. And then we give you a working definition, and then I try to give you a little bit of an idea about why this might be something that you need to put into your personal lexicon bank of words that you know. So let's take a look at our actual definition of what MTHFR is. What we're talking about is the MTHFR mutation. It is a genetic change in the gene that codes for the enzyme methylanthractopyridase, right? Reductase. I can't even say it. Having a defect in this enzyme leads to elevated blood and urine levels of homocysteine. There are two common MTHFR mutations known as C677T and A1298C. Okay, what are you going to do with that? That's about as useful. It sounds serious though, doesn't it? Well, let's take a look at what our working definition is so that we can sort of get a look-see at this. So MTHFR, it's a gene mutation which can create a variety of symptoms that can, in a lot of cases, be reversed by removing folic acid and folinic acid from the diet and replacing it with folate. Okay, so here we go. We're finding that more and more people on the autism spectrum have the one or both of the MTHFR markers, that they have this genetic change, this mutation. And there are a lot of different symptoms that can arise from having this genetic change, this mutation, that can really affect your health. We have people that are having heart issues, that are having blood pressure issues, all kinds of things, and there can be other concerns health-wise as well that can be quite debilitating. Could be gut issues, right? We're seeing that the ability to focus and brain fog, some of these things come into play. Now, General medicine has been looking at the MTHFR mutation for quite a while, and if you go to a cardiologist on a regular basis, it's a conversation you can have with your cardiologist, and they will get you tested for the MTHFR mutation, because they will treat you slightly different, and there's some medicine that might be different if you have, and they'll be looking for different issues, cardiac issues, as a result of you having this mutation. But what we're finding is that not only do a lot of the parents of children on the spectrum have one or both of these, but the kids do as well. And what you really need to know is that if you have this gene mutation, then your body can't handle that folic acid and the folinic acid. So what's that? Oh, well, that's the stuff you take in the bottles, right? So if you're taking medicine, you're not going to take folic acid, and you're not going to take folinic acid. But it's also in every enriched wheat product that there is. So when you eat a cereal, a lot of times if you read the box, it says enriched wheat, and it says folic acid, or it says folinic acid. And this is happening for a very specific reason. There were a lot of babies that were being born in a certain period of time that had spina bifida. And they did research, and they were like, why is this happening? And they found that in the moms, there was a lack of folic acid and folinic acid. And if they gave them folic acid, these babies were being born and they did not have spina bifida. So the United States government made a decision, and they said, you know, we're not just going to ask women to take this supplement. We're going to enrich our wheat products, and people eat wheat. It's on our pyramid chart that you're supposed to eat all these pieces of bread a day that nobody really can eat. We're going to put it in everything that we make, and we're just, you know, it's just going to be this additive that's good for them. We're going to enrich it, put vitamins in, that way kids will get it in their cereal, mothers will get it in their bread. Wonderful, except that there is a group of people that cannot handle this, that it actually becomes toxic in their body, because their body does not have a way of processing it, and it becomes toxic and it creates health problems. Sounds scary, right? This is why, you know, we recommend for people that are having health problems, whether it's the parent or the child, ask for the test. Ask your doctor. You know, 5 years ago, this was a big deal, and you had to go to a specific person and in order to get the test. Go to your pediatrician. They should be able to request it. If they can't, go to the cardiac pediatrician and say, can you request this? We want to know, because if you or your child tests positive for this, it's a dietary change that will honestly change your level of health. So that's why it's a big deal in the autism community. MTHFR. I said, what, the MTHFR? Right, but if you don't have it, oh, you're good. You're good to go. But if you do have it, particularly one of the two mutations is more sensitive. My understanding of it is to the dietary thing. And if you have both, you're more likely to be sensitive to these things. I have one of these. So it is the one that is less reactive to diet, but I can't eat wheat. So I was like in a better place for this, although it does exist in other places. I can't take regular vitamins. Now, did you notice that there is a specific kind of vitamin that you can take, and that's folate? And we really want to take that as naturally as we can in green leafy vegetables, and you can Google to find out what is high in folate. But having that artificial folic acid and folinic acid is not good if you have the MTHFR deletion. All right, there we go. There's our jargon for today. So now we have our question, and our question of the day for you is, what do you know for sure? Now, this is Oprah's question. Oprah loves to ask this question, and she got this question from Gene Siskel. Do you remember? I'm old, but there was a duo that called Siskel and Ebert that used to review movies every weekend, and we would all tune in to see what did Siskel and Ebert think about these movies. And both of these gentlemen have passed now, but Gene Siskel, that was his interview question. Whenever he was interviewing somebody, he would say, "What do you know for sure?" And Oprah, that really resonated with her, and so she has carried the torch and asks people now on a regular basis, what do you know for sure? And so I'm asking you, what do you know for sure? In the last week, we've covered a lot of different things that have to do with diet and autism. And of course, we talked yesterday, actually, we're going to talk tomorrow, about there's a lot of controversy right now. Certainly, Bill Maher stirred it up a little bit on his show on Sunday and said, I have questions. I have questions about vaccines. And I just want to say to you that there's a lot we don't know still. There's a lot we don't know. And so the one thing that I know for sure is that it's good to ask questions. It's always, I'm a former teacher, and I would always say to my students, it's okay to ask questions. And I don't really believe that there is a stupid question. People will argue, well, if you ask a question that's already been asked and answered, that's a stupid question. And I don't think so. I don't think so, because sometimes you ask the question in a slightly different way and get a slightly different answer. And then it opens up everything, right? I remember a million years ago, my dad, my poor, wonderful dad, who had a stroke way too early and really needed to retire in disability before his time. He was a brilliant, brilliant man, and he had a stroke that brought him down. And it was a difficult time for my mother, who was overwhelmed with a lot of stuff, and she had a stack of papers. They were asking her to do something about his retirement. And I went to New York City to the actual place with the stack of papers and said, talk to me. I got to make decisions here. My mother asked me to make the decision. I want to make an informed decision, and I had pages and pages of questions that I sat and asked this guy over and over and over, and he could only answer the questions that I asked, right? And so knowing what question to ask sometimes is everything. And at a certain point, I got to the very bottom, and the last question that I had written on the sheet was, is there a question that I should be asking? And I asked that question, and he sat back in his chair and he said, now that's the question, isn't it? He said, you haven't asked me a question about, is there a benefit to doing this certain thing? And it was a $300,000 difference asking that question in my father's retirement. $300,000, which I don't have sitting around in couch cushions. I don't know about you. But if I hadn't asked the question, what is the question? Is there a question that I have not asked that I should be asking? He couldn't answer any other question. So I'm a big one for asking questions, and I'm a big one for asking questions in different ways in order to get to the answer that is meaningful and the answer that you really need. That's what I know for sure, that it's healthy to ask questions. And it's if somebody is having to ask a question and you just answered the question, then that leads to 7 more questions. Like, is there something that's preventing them from hearing what you said? Or do you need to word it in another way? As a teacher, I believe that people have to keep asking the question until they get the answer that makes sense to them, right? So that's what I know for sure, but I'd love to know what you know for sure. Okay, and then our topic this entire week continues to be treating the whole individual, treating the whole person. It's really important that, while I think that as the autism community, as diverse as it is, we're going to have that many opinions. And I celebrate that personally, and I think that we all should, right? Let's celebrate that we have diversity. Let's celebrate that we have different opinions, that we have different viewpoints, that our perspective is going to change how we look at things. I am a parent of an individual who was diagnosed with autism. So my perspective of autism is going to be different than the perspective of someone who is an adult on the autism spectrum. That's a given. I can do nothing but respect that because I can't know what they know, nor can they know what I know, right? We can ask each other, we can communicate, we can try to know, we can be empathetic, we can try to put ourselves, but I'm never going to know what it feels like inside to be an individual who's on the autism spectrum. Gosh, if I could, I would, because I would give anything to know what it feels like to be my son, right? I think I'm not alone in that as a parent. But the thing that we can be united on, the thing that we can totally get on board with is that individuals with autism deserve respect, right? I don't think there's a person in the autism community, on the spectrum, off the spectrum, young, old, ability to use vocal speech, nonverbal. I don't think there's a person in our community who would disagree with that, right? And so part of that respect is being treated as a whole person in the medical field. Do you not agree that that when we have doctors who just look at somebody and go, oh, autism, therefore I do not treat this person fully, this is a rallying cry for all of us. So we've had a lot of things on the show this week. I hope you guys had an opportunity to see Anita Lesko on at the beginning of the week, because, you know, she said some really powerful things. And we had Christina Adams on. I love to show different viewpoints because I think that it's super duper important. Okay, so I just want to look at some of the questions we have. We've got a couple of people who've asked about what vitamin can a mom take, and thank you, I love you too. So I want to go back to you don't have to go back, but I'm going to go back. So there is something called folate. So if you go into a Sprouts or a Whole Foods or any kind of place that carries good quality vitamins, you're going to see that there's, you know, a shelf, and it's going to have a set of vitamins, and you look on the back of it and it says folinic acid on it. If you think that you have the MTHFR, you put that one back. But there is a place on the shelf where it says folate. You want to get it in the most natural form that it is. If you do not have the MTHFR, it's not a problem for you. You can take whichever one you want to. If you are taking the vitamin out of your diet, that's great, but you've also got to take out all those wheat products, and you've got to read the label of everything, because they snuck that folinic acid and the folic acid into so many products. And hey, it was a really good thing, because spina bifida, the degree of spina bifida has changed exponentially, right? They thought they were doing a super good thing. It's just that there is a portion of the population it's not good for. Okay, so treating the whole person, right? Because everybody's not the same. We're not on a conveyor belt, identical cookies, right? I'm just picturing the cookie cutter approach, right? Bump, bump, bump. They're all exactly the same. That's not us. And it's none of us, not even outside the autism community, but certainly within the autism community, we are not the same. We are all precious in our own special way, right? But we've got to be treated as individuals. Treat the whole person. All right, so big show for you today. I'm very excited that we're going to have Jim Garber from Discovery Toys with us. If you've watched the show before, you know that I'm a big fan of Discovery Toys. And we just on Saturday, when we were at a live event, there was a booth that had Discovery Toys in it. And we've had Jim on the show before because we tend to always pick at least a couple of toys to be in our toy guide, which is out. It's there. It's free. It's on our website. Check it out. Let it help you to make decisions about how you're going to spend your toy money. But we're going to be talking with him about this year's winners and about how you can participate with Discovery Toys, because it's a little bit different than just going to Walmart, right? And so we believe that we're going to have time also to do a mindfulness moment today. And I don't know about you, but I need it. I need some serious mindfulness today. So we're going to make time for that. All right. What do you know for sure? Write it into us. I want to know what you guys know for sure. So stick with us. We're going to be back with Jim Garber, Discovery Toys, and I'm going to hammer away. That'll be part of my therapy for today, that I'm going to hammer away. Stick with us.
Hey, I'm Candace Cameron Bray.
Tom Bergeron.
You're watching Autism Live.
And you're watching Autism Live.
And you're watching Autism Live.
You're watching Autism Live.
Hi, Lisa Ackerman back with your Talk of Facts, the autism journey questions and answers that you need to help your child make the progress they need. I'm here to talk to you about one really important item. A lot of people ask me the question, well, Lisa, I want to see this specialist in another state. How do I do that? I don't own a jet. I don't have the ability to fly without great pain and travel. Not a problem. We know how to get this done. So I actually encourage families, even though when travel can be a tremendous hardship, getting a child with autism through security, through the plane, and in the journey to where they need to go. We have a whole white paper on TACA about how to travel with special needs kids. So it can be done. So travel, we know that can be expensive. Not everyone has an unlimited supply of cash for air flights. We love and work with this group called miracleflights.org. They're fantastic. They will fly you and your child, so one parent, one adult, anywhere in the United States, one time a year. Also in the TACA document are places to stay. So often you will have people in your life that love and support your family and don't know exactly how to help. Ask them to gift you their travel or their rewards cards or coupons for hotel, rental car. That's a great way to be able to get maybe a hotel room that has a refrigerator or a microwave and that's close to a Whole Foods, so you don't have that added cost of going out to dinner, especially if your kid has a lot of allergies. It's important to note that there's not a pediatrician or a specialist by every Starbucks in the United States. Close does not always equal best. So I bring up the travel point so you know that travel is possible, number one, and often it's really going to help you get down the road faster for your kid and getting the answers you need from the specialist that knows what to do. So don't be afraid to travel.
Do you provide care services to someone with autism? Recently, more and more children are being diagnosed with the condition and getting the support they need as awareness grows. But what happens to these children as they grow up? It's estimated that over 500,000 youth with autism will turn 18 in the next decade, and they'll be faced with a very difficult reality. As children with autism grow up, their services start to disappear or become very difficult to access. Things like medical care, mental health counseling, vocational training, and more. All services that are still desperately needed. The loss of support that youth with autism face as they grow up is so severe that it's referred to in the autism community as falling off a cliff. Adults with autism need the same level of support they had as children to avoid falling off the services cliff. Introducing Skills Living, the web-based software designed specifically to help transitioning youth and adults with autism so they can avoid the cliff and instead fly to success. With Skills Living, help your learner with autism develop the skills they need in all the critical areas of adult life, including self-control, planning, and problem-solving, effective communication, performing life skill tasks for independent living, acquiring and maintaining employment or other meaningful activities, developing and maintaining social skills and relationships, accessing transportation and public services, and being safe. Skills Living includes a comprehensive assessment, a data collection mobile app, behavior intervention plan builder, and automatic progress reporting. It also provides a complete curriculum addressing 16 key areas spanning the entire range of functioning adulthood. Skills Living is easy to use and can be implemented by schools, parents, and autism service providers. Call or click today for your free demo and see how Skills Living can help your learner with autism avoid the cliff and instead reach their fullest potential. Skills Living. Wish, learn, become.
Inclusion is everything. Feeling like we have a place where we belong, and when I say we, I'm first and foremost a mother of a child on the spectrum and gym owner and now founder of carrying this to families who need it as well.
My son is extremely hyperactive. Getting him to calm down is a very difficult task. So the idea of Rock the Spectrum Gym, where he could just go and run and play and do all these fun things without any kind of worries and just go, go, go and bring down that energy, it helps us so much at home. You know, in the home or at school, it's not acceptable, but this is the one place it is acceptable for the child to kind of be themselves and get it all out there and just really just be themselves.
It's an amazing place where my son could go and be himself. You get to meet other parents who are in the same journey as you are.
I think the most popular aspect of it is how they include all children of all types, not just only learning disabled, lower functioning, moderate functioning, high functioning, and non-disabled.
people there are so friendly. Everybody's like family. They always greet you with a smile. There's not one negative thing I could say about any of the employees. They're all absolutely amazing. I think every parent should walk in through those doors and see what an amazing gym it is.
Now a diagnosis being 1 out of 6 kids are in some way or form affected with sensory processing disorder or autism. That's why We Rock Now is on the rise. People want to be a part of it. People know that they have a community there. They know that they can learn more information about things that they don't know themselves or that they can share, build friendships, and basically get what you get in an OT facility, but it's not $150 an hour. It's $12.
Welcome back. If you know me, then you know I love toys. And I'm a huge fan of Discovery Toys. We're welcoming back to the show Jim Garber, who is a senior product manager for Discovery Toys. He knows I love his toys because we tend to feature them in the guide because they're really good toys and they're fan favorites. So Jim, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Shannon.
How are you you doing today? Not even the question to ask.
I won't get into why I'm working from home today, but it is a pleasure to be back again this year.
Thrilled to have you back. And thrilled to be featuring, you've got 3 winners this year in the guide, and they were 3 fan favorites. Which one do you want to start with?
We can start with any. How about Hammer Away? Is that good?
Okay, I've got Hammer Away here. Now, for those of you who are keeping track in our toy guide, the Hammer Away, this won the top toy in the toddler division. This toy is one of those toys, it's a really well-made toy. It's the kind of toy that you go, oh, those are those toys that we see featured in videos, like things like Baby Einstein, that you're like, where'd they get that from? I don't know where they got that toy from. It's that kind of a toy. And I tell you something, it's super cool because it's a tugboat and everybody loves a good boat, right? But there's so many different things this toy could do, but I gotta tell you, I wished I'd taken video, but we couldn't because people didn't want to be identified. But we set up this ginormous room and we had so many kiddos come in and play with toys, and we had the therapists come in, and we had the parents come in, then we had the teenagers, then we had the adults, Jim, and everyone wanted to play with this toy. Everybody had such a good time. I've got my hammer here, and I'm going to hammer away at my balls. And you can see it's loud because I've got the mics right here. But there's something deeply satisfying about it, right? That I said, oh, this is so good. I'm going to get my today's frustration out on this. But so many things to work on. Now, I want to wax poetic about this, but what do you love about this toy, Jim?
Well, I love the fact that, to your point, there's so much more to this toy. It's just not a ball pounding kind of toy. First, you may notice that there's the different colors, right? That we have, and the child has a chance to match the colors of the balls to the colors of the rings.
Yep.
And we made 2 of the balls similar in color, the purple and the blue, so the child can also learn to start to differentiate their colors as well. Right? And we also designed it so it's easy enough for the young kid to actually push the ball through their hand. Push it like that.
Yeah.
What I also love about it, how does the fact that the ball disappears, right? As it goes down the ramp, it disappears and then reappears, right? So the object permanence, the child's learning as well.
Yeah.
And children love just watching that ball just pop out again. Ooh, to get that surprise effect.
Yeah.
It pops out in the bottom there.
So one of the things that I love about, I love all the things that you were saying too, but I love as a therapist this is a toy that I can play with a child. The child thinks they're playing, but I can work on so many different targets. You were talking about colors. I can say, give me, take the purple ball, or give me the purple ball. I can say put with same, so that they can match the purple to the purple. I can work on 1, 2, 3, and 4 with this. And that it has a beginning, middle, and end. This is so important for therapy, because the therapists sit down and they'll work on something with a child, and maybe they'll run 10 trials of something, right? And then they get a break. And then you give them a toy for the break. And this is where a good therapist knows how to use a good toy, because now the child's so excited, and I saw children want to play with this toy. And I'm going to turn it the other way too, so you can see, because it's sort of fun from both angles. I like it this way, because then you see the balls come down. But so then now the child gets a break. Oh, now you want to play, you want to hammer, you want to play with the boat? Yes. And so we say, okay, we're going to hammer 4 balls, and they hammer away. We're working on fine motor, eye coordination, right, to be able to do something. This is a great skill that's going to help them to build all of the muscles in their arm that are going to be important for writing later on, right? So, and we've got 2 different sides to the hammer that function different ways, but they can hammer away to get the ball to go down. We do 4, and then it's like, good job, yay, and now we go back to whatever the other lesson was. And the kiddo thinks, I got a break, but really we were teaching during this time too, because we were counting 1, 2, 3, 4, we were matching the balls, we were doing the cause and effect, problem solving, and then we can ask them to match again to come back up to have it set for the next time that we do it. So this is and when you have that cause and effect toy, and we're going to talk about that again with the marble run, it makes it so much easier to take the break and get back to playing. If the child wants to play with a stuffed animal, there's no beginning, middle, and end to that, right? So that you let the child play with a stuffed animal, and you either have to come up with a game that has a beginning, middle, or an end, or the child feels like, no, I'd like to keep doing that, right? So ideal toys for doing therapy, because the child gets excited, we're learning during it, and it's great to say, this is how long we're going to play. Oh, all the balls are down, yay! We go back and do another lesson, and let's go back and do the hammer away again. So ideal, when you have a child that's going through intensive behavioral intervention, this is one of those toys that's super fabulous, wonderful. You're going to get so much done with this toy. So anything that you want to add, Jim, because this is hammer away. It's our top toy for toddlers.
Yeah, and you talked about the different surfaces, and we designed it so it can grow the child, right? So the slider surface is going to be a little easier, the flat surface of the hammer for the younger kids, and then they'll graduate to the rounded surface, which takes a little more coordination. And some children actually learn to use the ends of the handle as well to pound the ball through.
There we go. That hadn't even occurred to me. I gotta say too that we've discovered that a lot of our kids have an eye tracking issue, and that eye tracking issue leads, if it's not addressed, and a lot of times it's not caught until the child is like 8, and then the developmental ophthalmologist discovers it. But if that issue is not addressed, we see that they have a more difficult time catching a ball. They have a more difficult time tying their shoes. They have a more difficult time riding a bike. They have a more difficult time reading, and that they're a little bit more spatially clumsy. And one of the ways that we can work on this earlier is by doing something that has cause effect in a specific area. So this hammering, because they have to focus, it's very reinforcing. They have to focus on where they're hitting the hammer. I love that the hammer size is big enough and the ball is big enough that they're likely to be successful. If we were to take a little hammer, I used to take my son always to do those workshop things that were our hardware stores, and he would try to hammer this little tiny nail with this little tiny hammer, and it was so frustrating to him, right? And I didn't know that it was partially because he had this eye issue. But this, they can be working on it, not even know that they're working on it. They can be successful, which makes them want to do it more. So I love this toy. I give it 5 stars. And again, it's called Hammer Away and Top Toy. Now, another winner that we had was in the adult category, and this was the parent award, and it was the Color Cob. Now, the Color Cob, I have one of them out here. It comes, yes, there we go, the award for it. It's very colorful, but you can't see that because there's a lot of green on it. and there's a lot of green on the box. So, but it's much more colorful than this. You can see it better on his screen because he's not doing there. You can see how colorful these are. So I gotta say, Jim, when we first got this out of the package, we were thinking it was something different than what it is. And it took one of our teens that was on the spectrum, came up and was twisting, and it's like a Rubik's Cube, but I would say more complicated than a Rubik's Cube, because what you eventually want to do is get the different colors lined up, and it's a slide puzzle. But I'm not smart enough to do it, Jim. But we had a teen who came up and did it in under 40 seconds. Wow. It was the most amazing thing that I have ever seen. And what we heard from so many of the teens and the adults, and I've seen this just sitting here with you, is that it's very soothing and addictive to work on it. And it is problem solving. There's a sensory element to it that it feels really lovely. It feels like a corn cob. And by the way, it comes automatically with 3 different puzzles so that you can start easier and work your way up to the more challenging one, which is what I have. But it reminds me of those slide puzzles that we had when we were kids, and I'm not very adept at it. I'm not fast at it. The kiddo that we had do this, he was boop, 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 boop. And then he went, "You mean like this?" And we went, "Okay then." But there is an element to this that's very soothing and relaxing. And we thought this was for our older kiddos and adults that need a fidget, but they don't want something that's just a time suck, because sometimes the fidgets are just sensory. This has the mental component to it. We heard from our adults and from parents of our adults that this is something that can go in the pocket and go to a college class if they're feeling stressed, and they take it out and they can be working on it, and it's totally socially acceptable because it's a puzzle. It occupies the parts of the brain. You know how when you get into that, they call it monkey brain, where you're focused on something and you can't get off of it. But if you focus on something that's a logic puzzle, it moves it to the other side of your brain, so it tells your brain to relax a little bit. We heard over and over and again how soothing this was. Even for me, and I cannot do it, I cannot solve the puzzle. I have not managed to solve the puzzle. It's still soothing. It's not frustrating. So I absolutely love this game. That's why it got in the adult category, it got the Parent Award. So what do you guys at Discovery Toys have to say about this, Jim?
Yeah, no, we agree. When I saw this product and instantly fell in love with it, I love the fact that there are 3 different sizes, right? And the smaller size has only the 3 rows. And by the way, you couldn't quite tell, there's 2 ways to move these color tiles. You slide them right up and down. There's an empty spot. And you also can rotate each of the rows independently.
Yeah.
Right? And then we have the 4 rows and the 5-row puzzle. So we love the fact that the child can, again, advance and grow with the product. And also it's a chance for maybe you have 2 or 3 children, or maybe a parent and child, to play together with this set.
Absolutely.
You're right. It is very soothing just being able to twist these and slide these up and down, and just to have it in your lap if you do want something to occupy your fingers with.
Yeah, it's really, I think, a great stocking stuffer. If you've got a teen who's really good at puzzles, or an adult who's good at puzzles, it's a super duper gift. Something that they can take with them in a bag or in a pocket. It's small enough, and it's addictive. I'm done talking to you, Jim, because I just want to try to solve the puzzle. Okay, so I saved the big one for last, and we're gonna have to go to the other camera, Traven, so we can show. I've got it set up here, a marble run, and I love a good marble run because you want to talk about the ultimate cause and effect toy, the ultimate, have a beginning, middle, and end toy. A marble run is great. I honestly, if somebody is doing an ABA program with a kiddo who is under the age of 10, they should have a marble run. And there are different marble runs, and there's all different kinds, and we've featured so many during the years. In fact, last year we featured one from you guys as well. But this one, I thought, oh, you're not going to be able to top that, Discovery Toys. I don't know why you're, having us look at another marble run, because last year it was pretty awesome. But this year you topped yourself, because this one gives me the ability to race multiple marbles at a time. Just stop, Discovery Toys. You just keep outdoing yourselves. This is so fabulous because it adds another element to a marble run. So let's start top to bottom with a marble run. First thing that we work on is it's a construction toy. It's a building toy. You have to put the pieces together. There are different pieces that have different functions, and you have to logically put it together and then problem solve to see how it works. I had people in here this morning helping me to put this together, and adults, and they were having such a good time and arguing about, well, this one has to sit here to be able to do this, and then doing practice runs to see did it work, which is an executive function skill that we want every person by the time they're a teenager to start to work on. That, okay, I put it together, and I want to see now, does it work? And if it doesn't, that's not the end. That means we change something. Think about if you had been taught that as a child, and maybe you were, I wasn't, but like how much easier the teen years and the adult years would be if we looked at every problem that way, right? So we want to look at things that way. But then once you get it together in some configuration, it becomes the ultimate therapy toy that we say, okay, we're going to go and we're going to work on this, but then when we're done, we're going to race marbles. Beginning, middle, and end. We put our marbles at the top, we race them, they get to the bottom, and we go, okay, time to put the marbles away, and now we're going to work for another marble to be able to race. And I see therapists doing marble runs all the time, but the ability to race more than one at a time, now it becomes social. Now we can work on things like winning and losing, and how do I win and not appear to be a jerk when I win, right? And gloat, but accept the win. And how do I graciously lose, right? All of those different lessons, you've supercharged it, you've outdone yourself. I love it, Jim.
Thank you, Shannon. To your point with this new set, the Grand Prix sets, we did add a couple of components, and one of those components we added is what we call the rejoin strap, right? And that's the piece down here at the bottom, and that allows you to build two tracks from the start, right up here. You build two tracks, and then you can bring them back together here at the bottom with the rejoin track. So you do have a race track, right? So all your marbles that you start the starting gate with, they will all finish at the finish line, and you can see which marble wins, right? Which marble completes the course first. So that's Grand Prix.
And I've got some marbles in there. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see. The big discussion was today. I'm going to stand up. This is not going to be proper television. But there's a place here where the marble jumps and has to make it into here. And this is what the argument was about where to put this one today. So all I have to do, the marbles are up here. You guys can't see really well. All I have to do is tip it. And I got a bunch of marbles. And they're all up. And one of them made it down, but the others shot into the studio. And I've got a little sticker at the bottom that tells me what's finished first through sixth. There we go. So one made it onto the thing here. My staff will be so thrilled to know that one made it and the rest didn't. But so much excitement around this toy. If you have this happening at home and you're having a play date, great. You have a therapist there. This is the kind of thing that they have at centers and that everybody wants to play with. When they go to do a program with somebody, beforehand, they always are going to do a preference assessment and say, what are you working for? And they may not actually verbalize it depending on what the kid's capabilities are, but they'll take them and they'll say, this, or this, and allow them to point for what they want and eventually to request marble. I want marble. And I've seen over the years, kids love this. They absolutely want to be able to do this, to race a marble. It sounds crazy, but having this kind of a toy, using it during therapy, often is the impetus that gets us to the vocal speech. It's the thing that, because the child is enjoying themselves so much, and they know if I do this, then I get to go and I get to put the marble down, and then they're excited to go back and work because it's another opportunity to earn another marble to come back and do this, and the child is happy and the child is learning, and it's how we get to all those targets that we want to get to, that lead to our kids doing really well in their lives. So these kinds of toys can make miracles happen. So absolutely love this added element to it, because it just has given you so much more to work on with this toy. And by the way, that toy that we had a new category this year. We started with STEM toys, which are working on science, technology, engineering, and math. And there's definitely engineering about this, because there's so many different ways that you can put this together. And so once a child has gotten through, we've raced and we've got the child who's a little bit older, who is a little bit savvier in terms of engineering, can put this together in myriads of ways that would blow your mind. And that's a really remarkable thing as well. So, Jim, how much do I love your toys? A lot.
Thank you, Shay. Hey, I also wanted to add another reason why customers love marble work. There's been a message we've heard over the years is that it is made of a high impact plastic material, a polystyrene material, and it will last forever, which is important for this kind of product because it is designed for the child to take apart and rebuild over and over again. It is an open-ended STEM construction toy, like you mentioned, and parents and educators love the fact that it is extremely sturdy and high quality.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely remarkable. So here, this is just the beginning. I don't know if you saw that on Saturday we did a live feed from a family fun festival, and you had one of your people, they had a booth there, and so we visited the booth live while we were there. We were on Facebook Live. And you could see the wide array of toys that you can find in a catalog from Discovery Toys. So, but this isn't a thing where you just go to Target and pick up these toys. These toys you're going to get in a very specific way. So talk to them about how they can access these toys, Jim.
Yeah, so to Shannon's point, we don't offer these products in a traditional retail environment. So we make these products available through our independent distributors. And these are women and men who have their own Discovery Toys business, their own Discovery Toys shops, if you will. And what they do is they'll showcase and feature our toys through a party in the house or maybe in a workplace. They also make our products available to the public in different fairs and community events. They also have their own websites. So hopefully you can find the Discovery Toys Play Advisor, we call them, in your area. If you're having trouble locating a Discovery Toys Play Advisor, you can certainly contact us at our home office, and you can look us up at discoverytoys.net, and we'd be more than happy to help you find your local Play Advisor. You can also, like I said, you can probably find the product, hopefully find your Play Advisor. You can try to Google Discovery Toys online in your area. But that's pretty much how you can find it. And the advantage of that type of setup is you can actually contact your Play Advisor. They can show the product to you in person, and you can actually touch and feel the product as you go about making your purchase decision. So that's, in a nutshell, how you can contact us, discoverytoys.net.
So I hope that people will realize that, one of the things that I would encourage you to do, if you've got small kids and you're wanting good quality toys like these, and you're working on a budget like we all are, ask to host a party. Invite a group of friends over from the school group or, the play group or whatever. It could be a thing, for instance, if you're a card parent and you could leave a little notice at the desk saying, I'm having a Discovery Toys party, and get to know some of the other people there. Not only will you get to know some of the other parents, you'll get to have these toys showcased where people can touch them. But a lot of times, because you host the party, you get some sort of perk for doing that, right, Jim? You get some sort of discount or a free toy or something. or you get points towards a toy, or there's always something, and I'm sure that there are different months that there are different things, but it can help you to be able to purchase the toys that you want for your kiddos. Am I correct?
Yeah, I am correct. And I did want to add, if we find after you contacting us that we may not have a play advisor in your immediate area, another consideration is to join the Discovery Toys family. And we do have a very affordable way for you to actually become a distributor. And we do regular training to get you up to speed pretty quickly. So that's just another consideration. In fact, I'll be doing a training for some of our new advisors tomorrow. What's another way to get yourself, to get yourself in touch with our products?
A lot of parents, one or both of the parents, when a child is diagnosed with autism, the current mode in which they're working and earning money, either it needs to change or it's not enough or they need something on the side. This is another possibility of a way that you could become a distributor and have that side business that it's a little bit more flexible hours and be helping yourself to get good quality toys for your child and helping other people to get good quality toys. So a very cool work model.
We have quite a few play advisors actually that do have children with autism. And that's just another great community that if you're faced with a situation, maybe early in the process, it's just another great community to tap into.
Well, Jim, we love what you guys do. We love the toys. Thank you so much for making these amazing toys and sharing them with us. And we hope that you guys just continue to keep making toys that make sense for our kids. And I will say, too, that your distributor showed me that you guys even have your own guide that shows all the toys in your catalog and what kinds of things that you can work on them with kids on the autism spectrum with. And I thought that was really great. So great. Thank you for listening to our community and for being a part of our community.
Thank you, Shannon.
All right. Say hi to everybody. Say hi to everybody at Discovery Toys for me.
Will do.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Some great winners for you here, and I continue to play with the corn cob. All right, we're almost out of time, and I said that I wanted to do a mindfulness moment, so let's do a mindfulness moment, right? Let's take a moment and do a little creative visualization, even if it's just for a minute. I want wherever you are to put your feet flat on the floor, put your hands on your knees or on the table, wherever, and I just want you to feel, close your eyes, take a big, deep inhale and slowly out, right? As you feel your feet on the floor, maybe you're just feeling the insides of your shoes, feel whatever the surface is underneath your hands, right? We just come to that awareness of being here and breathing, because sometimes we get lost in that. Oh, right, I'm a living, breathing person. So take another deep inhale and a slow exhale. And one more deep inhale and slow exhale, because 3 slow inhales and exhales can save a lot, right, of the day. But I want you to take just a minute with your eyes closed to picture a fabulous place, any place that's safe for you, and a place where you feel completely at home and completely relaxed. You're keeping your breath going at whatever rhythm feels appropriate to you, in and out, right? And be in that place for just a minute, that really fabulous place. And in that place, I want for something to appear in your hands. It could be absolutely anything, and whatever the first thing was, don't judge it, take it. It's a gift from the universe for you today. What is it? And, just be with it, hold it. And you might go, oh, this isn't what I want. Maybe it is. Take a minute, take a look at it. Maybe it's what you need right now. It might be something ridiculous. It might be fabulous, right? Whatever it is, it's okay. It's absolutely okay for this moment. It's your gift for this moment. Be mindful of it. And just take breath and be in this place. And while you're in this place, because we're going to have to leave it very quickly, I just want you to know that it's available to you to come to this place whenever you want to. And that in this place, any gift that you want to call to come, if what showed up was not what you really wanted, next time when we're off the air, sit and take another minute, go back to that place and call the thing that you want to come to you. The truth of the matter is that it's all in your mind, as are most things. But if it makes you happy to picture $1 million in your hand, then picture $1 million in your hand and be happy for that minute, right? Because it's going to affect the rest of your day to be happy in that minute. Sometimes having a fake $1 million in your hand is just the thing that you need to do to put a smile on your face and remind yourself that all kinds of things can happen in the world, right? So while you're thinking about that, I want you to come back to awareness here and open your eyes and be with me and realize that that place is available to you all the time. We spent a minute and a half. You can do that on your own anytime you want to, and you can have it be epic and long and have it be guided by somebody. We have a guided meditation for you that's online, that's for stressed out parents, that's 11 minutes long. You can find all kinds of things online. There are all kinds of podcasts about creative visualization. You can actually visualize the thing that you want to come to you. And I have to say, it's not magic. It's not, but it will make you feel like, oh, is that the thing that I really want? And if it is, it will spur you to take action. So it's not magic, but it is a way of controlling what your thoughts are, because what's wrong is always available, right? So you do have the ability to say, oh, I've known since I was a child that someday I was going to win the lottery. And so every once in a while, and I'm stressed out, I buy a lottery ticket and I spend 2 days picturing all the wonderful things I would do with that money. And you know what? It makes me happy. It's $2 and it makes me happy. And have I won the lottery yet? Not the physical lottery. I've won other lotteries, right? Because I got to marry the love of my life and my kid got the help that he needed. Let's not be, crazy here. That's winning the lottery, right? But my point is, for $2, I get to daydream about crazy, crazy stuff, and it makes me happy. What would make you happy? Visualize it coming to you. And take the happiness that it comes from just visualizing it. Don't negate that and go, yeah, but it's not real. It isn't, but the feeling is. So that's my advice for today. Hey, tomorrow on the show, we got a big show for you tomorrow. So tomorrow we have Ifunanya Nwiki, who's going to be with us from Jazz Hands for Autism. We have Darren Phyllis, who's going to be with us from Just Stroller Toys. He is going to introduce you to the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life. You're going to absolutely love it. It's like the new Cabbage Patch doll, but better. And you can adopt these babies. They're so awesome. And then we have Carrie Mallory Thompson is going to be with us, and she's from Thelma Lou Creations. If you have somebody special on your Christmas list that you need to get something fabulous for, you have to watch. She's the person who made our mugs, but you are going to see what she can do. She made this for us too. You can see what she can do with your child's artwork. It is going to make your head explode. So that's tomorrow. Don't miss that. Until then, give your kiddos a hug for me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.